Hello, boys and girls. You're watching Peter's Raw Recap. Coming off a very memorable, and I repeat, memorable battleground. A pay-per-view, WWE Network exclusive, network special that I didn't have too much hope for. I didn't have hopes for it at all. It came off pretty fucking good, and and that's always my case with like the special events pay-per-views. They always kind of work themselves out to a certain degree. I don't know what Elimination Chamber other than that one Cena match, Cena Owens match, but that was a debacle. That didn't really work itself out. But Battleground most certainly did with the return of the Undertaker. What can you say? A very memorable match between Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. Hey, by the way, I'm gonna call him Seth Rollins for the rest. He's Seth Rollins. Um, and a couple of other things, especially the Divas triple threat, Charlotte getting the win, so on and so forth. I didn't put a recap of that up, but I do, and I spent all day basically doing it because I have in the bottom box I have or will be on this side um, an actual picture of the actual matches while I'm watching them and reacting to them. So if you're catching this, be sure to go back 4 videos back. I did 4. I did Cena Owens. I did Brock Rollins. I did the Divas triple threat, and I did what's the third one? God damn it! Did I just already forget the one I did? It'll hit me in a minute. Who cares? Well, anyway, they're back there. Go check them out. I spent the whole day fucking editing and uploading them. But yes, go check them shits out. They're pretty funny. And let's talk about tonight's Raw. Let me just run through this shit, man, and try to get out of here. Tonight, Raw was in Kansas City, and it was a lively place, and for good fucking reason. They got a really good show. It's one of the best shows in a very long time. A lot of action. You had the Taker coming back. He started off the show. I mean, I think the first time in a very long time, the Taker shows up for Raw. He showed up last night, kicked the shit out of Brock Lesnar, but now he came in. It's like, man, what an honor Kansas City got. I imagine places like Chicago are very like jealous. Well, anyway, he comes out, he kicks his promo, he explains why he comes back, and why he came back is because to get his revenge, because he dealt with losing the streak, but it was Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar that came out week after month, over a year, rubbing it in his face, and he couldn't take it no more. So that's why he came out and interfered in the match, and this is why he's in Kansas City tonight, to call out Brock Lesnar. And throughout the night, good promo too, by the way, just good to the point, get the fuck out of there. Better than a Triple H 20-minute promo segment, but we couldn't get out of it without actually Triple H showing up, him and Stephanie McMahon being part of the opening segment. And it basically, I'm not going to go through what happened in the lineup, but it's basically them booking the match between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, and contacting Heyman to make sure that Brock isn't in the building. The fact that they didn't want those two, powers colliding and tearing up the joint. They met up with the people, with the boys in the back, to let them know that they're going to be working to keep these guys apart, and so on and so forth. So that was like the in-between segments, basically them wanting to contain the chaos that would arise, being that the Undertaker was in the building and Brock possibly wanted to get his revenge from last night's attack. The first match, though, is Charlotte versus Brie Bella. And Charlotte got the win last night in the triple threat, and this is her, this is here we go, Charlotte Flair. This is her call, and she goes up against Brie Bella, and I just can't stand the Bellas, especially now with like these talented women up from NXT, and I just, I dealt with it because I wanted to see Charlotte, fight, but Brie, whatever. You got Team Bad at commentary, which is a horrible name. Horrible name. Decent match. I mean, it's all Charlotte. Brie does the Brian kicks, when they're on their knees and just kicks them, and the yes kicks. That's one move that she just needs to take off her repertoire. It's just too much. It's too much. At one point, when Nikki tries to get involved in the match, when she has the upper hand, Charlotte has the upper hand, she sends a tremendous big-ass boot to Nikki. Charlotte does, which results to Charlotte getting the win with a spear and a figure eight. And that was the first Diva segment. What you thought, I was like, man, they're going to throw him out there first? Like, all right, I guess that's the Diva segment of the night, but we find out later that is not the case. You find out later that it is booked. We got Brock versus Undertaker for SummerSlam. Los Matadores, next match versus the Primetime Players. And we haven't seen Los Matadores since the Elimination Chamber, unless they show up on Superstars or Main Event or something. But this is their first Raw appearance in quite some time. And they looked like they were doing all right. They actually held their own against the Primetime Players. Just quick, they didn't botch. It was just a really good athletic match from their point. When it comes to the Primetime Players, again, I had high hopes that the Primetime Players was going to be a way to get O'Neal, Titus O'Neal, maybe like a solo push. But they're going all out because they beat the New Day yesterday, last night, to retain the belts. I'm not happy about, and they're just basically the happy-go-lucky baby faces with the belts, whatever. But one thing about the loose ends of the Los Matadores, at one point when they started to lose a lot, I wonder what happened to them following up the dissension between the group. But that didn't happen. Again, Los Matadores brought their A game, and the New Day, I just get so excited when they show up. They showed up, and they were a distraction, which led to a backstabber on Titus O'Neal for the Los Matadores win. So not only was their first appearance back on Monday Night Raw, but it was also a victory for them. Good for them. And I guess this feud between the Primetime Players and the New Day hasn't ended. I guess it's going to extend into SummerSlam. Again, the New Day are great heels. And Xavier Wood, he was like, you guys are terrible. I just thought it was funny. It was just funny the way he is he's the real MVP. We get a show. We get a big show Miz match because Miz interrupts Triple H while he's on the phone with Paul Heyman. Big Show makes quick work of the Miz, and Show wins with a big elbow off the second turnbuckle. A lot of high flying finishers, huh? We got Ryback flying off the off the top rope. We got Big Show coming off the fucking second buckle with an elbow, and I guess that's what it is. But he starts to talk smack to the Miz. It's like, what? You thought I was God or something like that? You thought Invisible, you feel me now? You feel me? I thought that was pretty funny by the Big Show. And then he shoots on Ryback. And during his shoot on Ryback, he throws in the Tough Enough plug that he's going to be on there. And there you have it, your Tough Enough plug for the night. The second hour leads in with Paul Heyman shooting a promo on The Undertaker, which results in The Undertaker showing up to fuck up Paul Heyman. He's all scared. He jumps in the corner. And before you know it, Brock Lesnar comes out like a bat out of hell. He fucking just bolts out there. And it just becomes this epic brawl. I mean, it takes up about 10 minutes to the point where even the security guys come out, and then the boys in the back come out, and it's just like they're just leaping and beating all the people off of them to get to each other. Pretty good stuff. Crowd going insane, man. Place is just electric. They go to break, and then they come out of break, where Brock Lesnar is surrounded by like by the New Day, and they're like, "Yo, chill." And then, boom, Undertaker shows the fuck right back up, and they brawl for like another 5 minutes. Some good, crazy action to a point where I think before the break, I don't think, but what happened before the break? Brock Lesnar made a comment. He says it several times. He goes, "I'll kill you." It's like, man, you're not supposed to do that in wrestling, especially in WWE, like a family product. Like, maybe he'll get heat, but I don't think Brock Lesnar gets heat. Okay? And Undertaker responds with, "You're gonna have to." Oh man, that was just gold. That was gold. That whole thing, which leads to police showing up and throwing the zippy locks on Brock Lesnar and being toted downtown in the paddy wagon. But yeah, that was that started off the second hour. You think that would finish a show, but I like how it was on the second hour, because then you got anxiety in the room. You got some crazy anxiety in the room, because that was something that's going to just rile you up for the rest of the night. I mean, it still got me a little riled up. You got Bray Wyatt with a package with Luke Harper, which leads to the Harper versus Reigns. Now, Reigns wants his revenge on Harper because he interfered. That's what it was. It was the Roman Reigns Bray Wyatt match. That's the other live reaction that I do. So go check that out as well. But yeah, it's Harper with Bray at commentary. Well, he's not on commentary. He actually takes Byron Saxton's chair, and he's out rooting on Harper and Reigns. And Ambrose comes out for Reigns' back. Decent enough match. I mean, the hard-hitting match. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's bad. I still just Roman Reigns still gets on my nerves about his lack of wrestling ability. The fact he doesn't do any holds or nothing. He just slaps and punches and kicks and clotheslines. Which results in a Bray Wyatt involvement, which results in a DQ. They start to beat up Roman Reigns. Ambrose join in on the fun, and then that goes back and forth, where there's a point where Harper and Wyatt are on top of Reigns, but it results in Ambrose and Reigns standing tall at the end of that little scuffle. So we go from one scuffle to another scuffle, and that basically takes up the second hour. The third hour starts off with a Seth Rollins promo telling how everybody was proven wrong, and makes Lillian Garcia announce that he's the winner, because there was no announcement. We don't even know where the fuck Rollins went to when the Undertaker showed up. So he made Lillian Garcia basically announce that he was the winner, and then John fucking Cena shows up, and I guess it's just one of those inevitable things where the ratings have gone to shit. You take a show like this that will definitely help the ratings. Help the rating tonight. I'd imagine they probably got a 3 when everyone saw on Twitter that the Undertaker was in the building and a fucking brawl had broken out between him and Brock Lesnar. But fucking John Cena shows up, and I guess the point I was making is that he is ratings. And sure enough, he basically puts his ring in the hat to show that he will be contending for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship very soon. Very soon. And they face off and they go back and forth with promos. And it looks like they're about to go toe-to-toe, but Seth Rollins steps off. And that ends that segment. Then we get a second Divas match, which I thought was incredible of a thing, because I don't remember the last time there's ever been, or I don't know if there's ever been 2 Diva matches in one night. But they're really gung-ho about this whole, the new NXT Divas coming up to the main roster. We get Becky Lynch and Paige versus Naomi and Sasha Banks. And yeah, I guess that's one of the things I talked about in my last review on the Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling last Wednesday, is that, like, if you're going to do this right, because you put these girls not only in Hurricane Nikki's path of getting to AJ Lee's WWE Divas Championship title reign count, they're also all thrown in to one segment. So they gave them another segment. So that's what I asked for. I'm sitting back waiting for them to fuck it up, but so far so good. I mean, it's still just the beginning, so I'm not getting my hopes up too high, but I just hope they stay the course. Paige taps out of the bank statement, and the heels win. Sasha Banks and Naomi gets the win over Becky Lynch and Paige. We'll see where this goes. Backstage, Lana gives a Dolph Ziggler update. Summer shows up looking exactly like Lana. And that's the whole thing. Rusev is dressing up Summer Rae to look like Lana. Rusev shows up, kisses Summer, and then Summer slaps the shit out of Lana. And then we're off to our main event, which is Cesaro, Owens, Cena versus... Cesaro, Cena, and Orton versus Owens, Rusev, and Sheamus, which is a pretty decent match until a point where there was incidental contact caused by Cesaro from Owens was shoved into Sheamus, and then they face off, push each other and stuff, and I think Sheamus clocks Owens and then he leaves. And then you have Owens is trying to tag Rusev, and Rusev is out. And then when he finally gets up, he tags Rusev in pretty hard, and then kicks his ass and super kicks him, and then he leaves, which leaves Rusev all by himself with all 3 baby faces still intact, and which ends with Lana shows up and attacks Summer Rae. And then the big finish was an AA body distraction, the AA into the big swing, then slingshot into an RKO, and Cesaro, Owens, and Cena wins. And I just feel like, man, that's the second week that Rusev has been put in a situation where he's the underdog as a heel. And that's very much what the baby faces are. So, man, this is a long recap. But yeah, that was a show. Fantastic show. No complaints whatsoever. Other than the fact that we got a little too much Triple H and Stephanie. But other than that, flawless show. Be sure to tune in this Wednesday. Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Jake, the return of Jake. And we're going to do a full review of the Battleground pay-per-view. And we'll do the full review of Monday Night Raw. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, just check out PJTW Central, and then also bookmark PJTWCentral.com, where I do live tweets and all that jazz. And without further ado, man, y'all have a good evening. Thanks for checking it out, and we will see you Wednesday.